The House voted Thursday to censure Representative Al Green, Democrat of Texas, for his protest during President Trump's address to Congress this week, a disruptive display that prompted his removal from the House chamber. The House adopted the measure in a largely party line vote, 224 to 198 to 2, making Green the 28th member of the House to receive the congressional rebuke. The censure resolution dubbed Green's display a breach of proper conduct. 10 Democrats voted with Republicans in favor of the censure. Green voted present. The censure vote made for a stunning scene on the House floor when Green presented himself in the well of the floor for a reading of the censure resolution as is customary for such a rebuke. The Texas congressman surrounded by other Democrats began singing "We Shall Overcome." Republicans called for order in the chamber. After the official censure, Republican and Democratic lawmakers began shouting at one another, a symbol of the partisan politics on Capitol Hill. "You're next," one Democrat exclaimed. At one point, Representative Dan Moser told Representative Ayanna Pressley Al was wrong, prompting her to respond, "Your members do the same thing." The punishment came less than 48 hours after Green, during Trump's address to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday, the first of his second term, stood up, waved his cane in the air, and yelled back at the president, interrupting his speech in the first few minutes. The protest began when Trump claimed he had a mandate from the American people following November's election, leading Green to exclaim the president does not have a mandate at all. At one point, the longtime Texas Democrat said Trump did not have such authority to cut Medicaid, as some Republicans' eyes slashed to the social safety net program. After a warning from Speaker Mike Johnson and a directive to take your seat, Green continued his vocal protest, prompting the Speaker to direct the Sergeant at Arms to remove him from the chamber. Republicans sang, "Hey, hey, goodbye," as Green walked off the House floor. "We take no pleasure in this," Johnson told reporters shortly after the vote Thursday. "I gave repeated warnings to Representative Green to stand down and to sit down, and he refused to do it. He chose to deliberately violate House rules in a manner that we think is probably unprecedented in history, interrupting the mess of a president of the United States who is an honored guest. I think this expeditious vote of censure is an appropriate remedy. Many of our colleagues have argued it should go even further, but I hope that he will acknowledge his mistake." A House censure is a formal reprimand taken by vote of the House chamber, is considered a mark on the record of a lawmaker, but does not typically carry consequences beyond having the members stand in the well of the House as the resolution to tell them their transgression is read aloud. Green has remained defiant in the wake of the protest. In anticipation of the punishment, minutes after his removal, he told reporters it's worth it. And Thursday, shortly before the censure vote, Green's official account on a social platform X said he was being penalized for standing up to Trump during the 10th hour Eastern Time. Congressman Al Green will be censored this morning for standing up to President Trump, the social media post read. So, this is going to be another one of those things where it's the difference between the people who actually are caring about policy versus the ones who, just do the theatrics. In a proper civilized society, I would look at this as the wrong thing to do. I would say, hey, if the president is speaking, we should honor, his words and rhetoric, and then we can respond to it after the fact. But when I think about how Presley said this in the part of the article that mentioned her, the fact that Republicans did the exact same thing to Biden when he was giving his speeches before joint sessions of Congress, the fact that we live in such an economically destitute time where you have this commander-in-chief that won't even mention the working class, a lot of vague economic terms of, oh, these tariffs will make things more affordable and they'll cut down prices. When you look at those types of things, it really makes your concern for conduct and behavior and etiquette. It just, all of it doesn't, it seems like nothing, because it is nothing. No one in Green's district is going to be upset that he stood up during Trump's speech, because no one in Green's district is dumb enough to think that Trump is actually going to fix the issues of their lives. And I'm saying that as someone who's not even I like to, I would like to think if I were somewhere like that, I would not feel the need to protest in that way, to interrupt it. But who cares? The era of candor and kindness, that's done. politicians are getting more and more brazen. You had not this Green, the other Green, the one out of Georgia, call Boebert a little expletive, which got her removed from her committee assignments. And beyond little acts like that, there really doesn't seem to be much of a consequence for these people when they do things. But I just don't see it as that big of a deal. Like, it's really, I think it boosted his name recognition, which I think was mainly the purpose of doing that. Um, it's just sad that like the U.S. is burning, and we have these like pricks in suits and ties and dresses who are like still trying to tell us you need to care about the appearance of something. No, honestly, if the State of the Union was really demonstrative of just the outrage that people have over, most of us living paycheck to paycheck and barely being able to afford our houses, and just these different, again, squalid conditions, if the outrage was properly demonstrated on the House floor or Senate, whichever floor whichever chamber that was in, you would see people banging on the doors and holding pitchforks, not to like actually physically threaten these people, but like in protest and demanding that they do something to make their lives better, or else they're all getting voted out. But they don't. People just haven't connected those dots yet.